means anything over here.
Starting to, thanks to
Are we sure about that?
the show Ted Lasso, people I think are understanding what it means.
Well, what a weekend, man.
What a day. I mean, yeah, what a weekend, but what a day.
Today or
just
Saturday? What do you
Saturday
referencing
was a
here?
day. Saturday was an amazing day. I think
All your teams won.
I think I might have had the greatest sports day in the history of my life. Might have been the greatest sports weekend in the history of my life. So the Red Wings are playing. No one cares about hockey, and it's the least important game that I actually cared about. They're down 4-0, and I turn them off. They score 6 unanswered. They come back and win. Then the Dodgers are playing Saturday night. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, complete game shutout. Dodgers tie the series 1-1. Then, of course, we all know, and we're going to get into it in a little bit more, the Aggies go into Baton Rouge and do something that's just absolutely mind-blowing. Doesn't even really compute in the moment the way they're able to rip off 35 unanswered points and make that place empty and turn into a cavern. And then on Sunday, Tottenham won a match, which is the most difficult thing anybody could do. And the Lions were off. So.
Well, this is not TexAgs Live, and it's never going to be, but we are going to spend some time on what happened Saturday night because I've got things to say, and I got things to react to. And let me start with this. I can't get enough of it. I'm sorry. I can't stop watching reactions, overreactions, thoughts, post-game streams. I just feed them to me. They are fulfilling my soul right now. I had to live in that state for 4 years.
What's the best one you've seen?
I don't want to get into.
I saw one last night. It was a AI edit of the scene in Goodfellas. You know, where Joe Pesci walks into the room, he's about to get made, but Joe Pesci's Brian Kelly.
See, I'm not even talking about. And here's another thing.
So bad.
And Josh Pate said it this morning, and I immediately thought about it when I was kind of just scrolling through Twitter and Instagram on Sunday. The Brian Kelly news and his firing has completely taken away, I think, on a national perspective, what A&M did to dismantle LSU in their own building. If he would have kept his job, everybody would still be talking about that embarrassment that happened, and it was a bludgeoning. The second half was a beatdown of epic proportions. The only thing that we've seen like it in that stadium in recent memory is what Bama did last year.
Yeah, that's a good point. But from a Texas A&M perspective, I mean, there was a thread that was started on TexAgs.com last night, I believe. Was that the most impressive win since blank? The one that immediately came to my mind was that Thursday night, Kenny Hill and them walked into Sandstorm and just at least for the night, looked like they were going to win the Super Bowl, not the national championship, the Super Bowl. They were that good. And then, of course, what Johnny did to Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl in 2013.
Very similar to that was a second half, just pull away, beat down. And I'm going to say this, okay? I have the unique perspective on this because I lived in Louisiana for 4 years. Got my undergrad at McNeese. Some of my best friends on the planet still live in Louisiana, are native of Louisiana. But I got, as somebody that had never lived over there, you're distracting me.
Somebody's already commented, like, yes, I'm absolutely dragging. It's just it's a stream of consciousness at this point, just to stay conscious, to stay awake. So I'm sorry.
Well, let me, I can rant for a little bit if you need a distraction.
No, I'm okay. I'm
so I had the unique perspective of having lived amongst people from Louisiana every day for the most of 4 years. Again, good people, solid people. If you have something going on, you need help. Cajuns are they're giving of themselves. They're thoughtful. But here's the issue, and here's the rub with them. LSU football is the fiber in that state. It's the biggest enterprise in that state, and it's not close. It is not close. They're bigger than the Saints. They're bigger than the Pelicans. There are no choices when you grow up over there. You are an LSU fan. The number of people that I know that are from Louisiana that aren't LSU fans, and like distinctly aren't LSU fans, I can probably name on one hand. I can count them on one hand. It's wild. Again, it's in their DNA because they don't have any choices. And outside of a very small circle in the city of Lafayette, everywhere else in that state, and I've said this before, the institutions in that state, the people in that state would cut off body parts if it meant LSU could succeed and thrive. That's not a joke. That's not a joke. What are you pointing at, Cade? Lower your stand.
Mine?
Yes. Your computer's blocking your face for all the people that want to see.
You're welcome, everybody. Sorry, Jen.
So you have to understand that the ends of their universe, it's like the state of Louisiana has a force field around it and you can't leave. You can't get out. Even the people that get out for a little bit, they typically go back and it draws them back in. If you're from Louisiana, that should be something you have a lot of pride in. But I'm not from there, and I've got no tie to that state, so I feel like I see it uniquely. And the extent of their universe is I-10 from Lake Charles to New Orleans and everything in between. There's nothing else going on in the world except that corridor, that area of the state. So for whatever reason, in my experience, and there was a lot of crossover between these two rosters, between the two coaching staffs, between the two media groups, between the personnel outside of the coaching staff. There's a lot of kind of mesh between Texas A&M and LSU right now. And I can tell you this, nothing makes their blood boil than losing to the Aggies. Like, they don't like Bama, I get it, but there's something deep-seated where they don't like it. I would bet that there were people's lips were bleeding because they were biting them so hard on Saturday night because they couldn't deal with it.
Does it seem to you like it's an inferiority complex for Louisianans towards Texans, and they look down on A&M because they've been able to beat them for so many years that they can't fathom the possibility of losing to the Aggies in that sport because that's really the only thing they've ever had superiority over the state of Texas in? At anything? Seriously.
I mean, that's a deep dive into the psyche of the entire state. But I do think you're onto something with some of the people. I do think that there are people that look down their nose at Texas A&M, and maybe there are some people over there that have had experiences at Texas A&M or have lived in College Station, and they didn't think that what's going on now could be done here. And so they always think it can be done at LSU, and it can be done at LSU. But I'm just going to tell you, it can be done here. And if A&M goes on the road and beats Missouri, it is happening here. But what we saw on Saturday was a complete bludgeoning by a team that was better coached, better prepared, had better football players, not guys that played football, had better football players and had a culture instilled in them that I bet LSU fans are going, we used to be that team. That used to be us. And now they're coming into our building. And I'm just going to tell you, man, I've been an A&M fan for a long time, and I've been working at TexAgs for 10 years. I don't know that I can recall a scene after a game on national television where it's the Aggie band, it is the entire 12th man, it's the team, it's Coach Elko, it's in 4K, and the Aggie War Hymn is playing in an empty Tiger Stadium, and it's bellowing. The only bodies there to absorb the sound is the Golden Band from Tigerland on the other side, and they've got to wear it. And it's echoing out of Tiger Stadium over the banks of the Mississippi River, and that's A&M that went in there and punked you. The Aggies went in there and punked you. And there's a lot of people wearing purple and gold in that building on Saturday night that makes their blood absolutely boil. And it made their blood boil so much that the next day they fired their head coach, and they're going to pay him $53 million. Texas A&M did that.
So are they going to pay him $53 million? Because I saw the rumor out there
that's not true.
There's a moral clause. They could get that buyout down to $20 million.
What's a moral clause?
I have no idea. You are going to know way more than this, because when you go home, you get it's like you get a
yeah, but I mean, she doesn't get into this stuff. But what I'm telling you is, if you're Brian Kelly and they just railroaded you out of town, and the stadium is chanting "Fire Brian Kelly," and it's felt like a forced marriage from day one, and just knowing Brian Kelly and how he is, you think he's going to take less than half of what he's owed? Would you?
No, absolutely not. What I know about Brian Kelly, just not a lot of great things. He is the type of guy who is going to fight, scratch, and claw for every single cent he is owed from the state of Louisiana. Every single cent, because he's that kind of slimeball. That dude's a scumbag, and I'm excited that he got fired. I think he's a bum. I love it when bad things happen to bad people, but like I said, he's a slimeball. He's a bad person, which means he's going to make sure he gets what's his or what he feels he is owed, and he's going to scratch, fight, and claw for every single cent of that buyout.
Well, and there was some great reporting going on around this, okay? And I did talk about the LSU media members. Some of them have done fantastic jobs, and I know Ross Dellinger isn't directly associated with LSU anymore. That's where he cut his teeth, was on the LSU beat. He's since turned himself into, I think, probably the premier beat writer for college football in the country.
Absolutely. I think of him in college football spheres the same way I think of Jeff Passan and Shams and Schefter and Rappaport and people like that. Shout out to Ken Rosenthal, too. He once DM'd me, actually. We're friends, me and Ken.
Oh, cool. Y'all should matching ties.
I have a bow tie
So
somewhere.
Ross Dellinger's report on what happened on Saturday night after the game during the second half, I mean, he's talking to high-level people, and he's quoting high-level people. It's a really well-written article. If you haven't read it, go read his report on what happened after the A&M beatdown of LSU on Saturday night, what was happening in the suites, the people he was talking to, the high-level donors, and then Matt Moscona also had a very detailed report. Now, I didn't read anything from him, but I did listen to one of his reports where he had a pretty line-by-line, instance-by-instance recap of what had happened the week before at Vanderbilt and Nashville, what happened on Saturday night in Baton Rouge, and then the subsequent meeting between Brian Kelly and AD Scott Woodward on Sunday, in which I think the plan going in, at least it sounds like, again, this is all alleged. We don't know anything. I'm just picking this up off of people reporters that have said these things on the LSU side. But Brian Kelly goes in. I think the intention was for coaching staff changes to be made on the offensive side. Whatever the plan was from Scott Woodward, Brian Kelly didn't see directly eye to eye with it and didn't want to do it exactly verbatim as Woodward had intended. And I think because of that, there was a fallout between Woodward and Kelly, and subsequently also the governor of Louisiana, which that is a whole nother element to this that we have got to talk about. Because of that, he didn't want to fire certain assistants, or he wanted to fire more assistants than they wanted to. They just decided they're gonna bite the bullet. And it's a very interesting talking point when you hear people say Mike Elko, and this was Lane Kiffin actually said this in his press conference, is Mike Elko is the reason why some of these people are willing to bite the bullet and pay these buyouts, because Texas A&M did to get Jimbo Fisher out when they knew they had to. They knew there was no more future here. The thing had run its course. It was time to move on. The A&M decision makers cut bait. They wrote the checks. They're still writing the checks for Jimbo Fisher, but they hired the right guy next. And I think a lot of people are going, look, it's expensive. And Moscona was talking about the overall lump sum that they are going to have to pay to fire Brian Kelly, to fire the staff, to hire a new staff, the NIL that goes with it. All of that's going to end up being about $120 million in a state where the best way that I can talk about Louisiana financially is they refine the oil. Texas has the oil, they refine it. There's a lot more money in finding it and having it than refining it. And they just don't have the flow. They don't have the private equity. There's some people over there with a ton of money. Don't get me wrong. Sure. But I know some people that run in those circles in that state, and there's just not enough. There's just not enough where at Texas A&M cutting $77 million or whatever it was to buy out Jimbo Fisher, that's going to sting, but people can do it. They can't do that over there. But they chose to do it, and they're going to try to figure it out on the back end. And who knows, with the history of that state, and as part of my undergraduate degree, I had to take Louisiana history as an elective, and I learned about Huey Long and that how the corruption that goes all the way back to the Louisiana Purchase that's still in place today. And if I don't know, you probably won't remember this, but whenever they brought in gambling and sports betting to Louisiana, that was supposed to help the revenue and clean the state up a little bit and give it more profitability. And they're still suffering from the same stuff. Well, why is that? And you do have a lot of Texans, and we have people, we both know people in College Station that drive to Lake Charles a lot to gamble and place bets. And so they're getting a lot of cross-border traffic, but why isn't the state reaping the benefit of that? Why are they still having financial problems? I don't know, but that's a fact. That's truth, and people over there will tell you that. So even with all that going on, they're going to cut this $53 million check to pay Brian Kelly off.
It's crazy that in a state where 18.6% of the population according to their 2022 census, is at or below the poverty line. And they're spending that kind of money. And the governor is involved in firing the head football coach. That dude doesn't have better things to do than on a Sunday afternoon field calls about a football coach. The highest ranking official in the state.
Well, he was tweeting about it on Saturday night, which is
wild.
American politics have never felt more real to me than a sitting governor or any elected official.
Wild.
Taking to Twitter because his favorite college football team just got embarrassed on national television. So, but the unique situation about LSU right now is they don't have a president.
Yeah, I knew that.
They're down to 5 finalists, and they think they're going to have a decision made by early November. Because they have no sitting president, their board of directors, which would be overseen typically by the president, is having to be overseen by the governor of the state right now. Depending on who you want to listen to, the governor of the state and the AD at LSU, who clearly are working hand in hand here, they don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. And that's going to be a point of contention. So here's my thing. Whoever the next president at Louisiana State University is going to be is walking into a giant nightmare. Financially, personnel-wise, a budget, that's a tough job to tape right now. You've got political factions that are pulling everybody different ways. You've got a fan base that's as angry as it's ever been. You're walking into a state that doesn't have a ton of financial resources. And oh, by the way, we're still paying Ed Orgeron. And now we're going to pay.
Doesn't seem so bad. He won national championship.
And now you're going to have to pay, what is it? What do they say? $800,000 a month to Brian Kelly?
Is it that high? $800,000 a month?
Or was it $300,000 a month?
I heard it was, is it $720,000? I think that might be the number.
It was pretty high. But if you're the president, you're going to walk into that and how is that going to go? Here's your first day in the office. Fix all this.
Yeah, I saw it. It's $800,000 per month. Per week, it's $186 per day, $26,000 per hour, $1,100 per minute, $18.46 per second. Brian Kelly's getting 31 cents per second.
So it's just, again, this is the biggest enterprise in the state of Louisiana. And there is nobody overseeing the university right now. They have an interim president, and they're about to hire somebody, and you have set it up. And part of me wonders, I don't know this. Again, this is just speculatory, completely speculatory. What if Scott Woodward knows he's out? What if Scott Woodward knows he's about to be let go? And so
our 10 hats back on.
What I'm saying is, what if Scott Woodward, because what happened here? He signed Jimbo to that massive contract, then what?
And then dipped.
And then left.
Yeah.
What happens if he knows he's on the hook over there?
And he went ahead and got his buddy $53 million on the way out.
So he's like, whatever happens after I'm gone, whoever's next, I'm setting up giant obstacles for them to overcome.
Seems like a scandal on the size of what the NBA's got going on. Maybe the mob's involved in LSU football.
Well, the Cajun Mafia for sure is.
Oh, the Cajun Mafia for sure. Yeah.
But that brings into a question a lot of things. And you're just thankful that A&M is seemingly on the other side of all of that, because it was a couple of years ago when Jimbo got let go and there was the AD situation was in flux, and It was, and A&M's president was in flux. Like it was a
A&M
mess.
still doesn't have a president.
Right.
But what I like from Texas A&M's Board of Regents and from Chancellor Glenn Hagar is, for the first time in a long time, it seems like they are going to take their time with their president search and vet all the candidates and make sure they truly get this one right. Because for the first time in a very, very long time, it feels like this place understands the importance of alignment from the chancellor to the president to the Board of Regents down to the coaches. And of course, no, we're not going to kid ourselves. Football coaches at times at many, many places, and sometimes Texas A&M included, the most powerful man on campus. Alignment's extremely important to success on the field and in everything else as far as academic institutions go. So I am at least proud of the way Texas A&M's board is going about things right now in their respective search.
Well, don't you think
because it doesn't seem like LSU is going to go that route? They're going to have to hastily do some stuff.
To stay on the A&M side of it, don't you think there are a lot of people that are recognizing this is our time? Like, we have got to get all of this right. We're 8-0. We've got a guy that's our head football coach that for the first time in a long time, we believe he is keenly aware of everything. He's aware of how the space works. He's aware of how his players are developed. He's aware of his coaching hires and the importance of it. He's aware of allocating funds to certain areas. He's just keenly, and he's smart, and he can also really coach football. So I think if you're an A&M official, you got to look at this and you go, "This is we got to strike here. We have a chance to finally build on this." You know, the sleeping giant has rolled over, and he's restless. I don't know that he's awake yet, but he's moving. We got to get this right.
Yeah, and I agree with you. A&M does have to get it right. A&M, I mean, they've got a new basketball coach. They just watched a baseball coach finish his first year. Obviously, Mike Elko's made tremendous strides from year one to year two, but even in year one, he showed you signs. He did. He showed you signs. Were you 8-1, 7-1?
7-1.
You were at least 5-0 in conference play. He showed you signs in year one. Oh, and he had to bench quarterback. He had to play with a backup while his starter was hurt for a while. He did that for a long time.
And he has developed the players on this roster at a kind of an incredible level.
Yeah.
And that was the
end over end.
That was the premise of the article that I wrote today. If you want to go read that, TexAgs.com, you'll have to be a premium subscriber. But what I basically did was I said the margins in the SEC on Saturday nights are fine, but there are ways to find advantages in the margins. That's what all the good teams do. The temperature in terms of talent level is pretty equal. So how do you find your margins on game day? Well, I think what A&M has done has taken those margins and looked at them on a recruiting lens and a developmental lens. Like where can we find margins outside of fall Saturdays? How do we find margins in summer recruiting evaluations, in portal recruiting evaluations? And you look at what they've done and where their roster is at right now, the guys that are making the plays on Saturdays, you go back and you look at what they were ranked out of high school and even out of the portal. Where were they coming from in the portal? How many guys did they get from schools that you would consider Texas A&M's peers? It's not many at all. And especially when you factor in their national high school composite rankings, and I'll pull it up just to give you a peek behind the curtain. I won't tell you about the entire article, but this is just the defense, okay? These are the players that played a fair amount or all of the snaps, who played the most on Saturday night against LSU. Albert Regis was number 453 in the country, composite. DJ Hicks, 6th. Tyler Onyedem, 1,405th. Dalen Evans, 155. Dayon Hayes, 311. TJ Searcy, 250. Cassius Howell, the best player on Texas A&M's defense, 2,162. Ryland Kennedy had a big sack late, 694. Torian York, the heart and soul of the defense, number 970 nationally. Scooby Williams, 74. Damian Sanford, 367. Tyreek Chappelle, 600. Jordan Shaw, 6'13". Will Lee, probably going to play in the NFL for a while, 1,937. Des Ricks, 27. Dalton Brooks, 93. Marcus Ratcliffe, 956. That's the defense that's been trotted out there.
Wow.
So it's not like these guys came with a bunch of cachet to their name.
Yeah.
So it still does pay to be old in college sports. A lot of these guys have been around and they're experienced. But what Texas A&M has done, especially over the last 2 years as Mike Elko, is just taken the arrow pointing on the development and rocketed it upward.
It's been impressive. I mean, Cassius Howe, what was his ranking? Like it's 2,000 something, right?
2162, number 2162.
That's a first rounder. That guy could win national awards this year and probably will. I think he's the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, undoubtedly, at least at this point in the year. He's obviously got to stay healthy and keep producing over the last 4 games of the regular season. But 9.5 sacks is unlike anything we've seen at Texas A&M in a long time. He's going to become the first guy since, I believe, Landis Durham to get to double digits with just half a sack more. And I think he's been cheated out of at least a half a sack this year. They didn't give him credit for a half sack against Arkansas.
He's at 10 on a lot of. I've seen him at 10 on a lot of places as well.
He's not at 10, Cade. There's some sort of discrepancy. A&M's reporting 9.5. The NCAA is reporting 9.5. 9.5 sounds official.
Cade, give me, who do you think Texas A&M's best player on offense has been this year?
That's a difficult question.
Trey Zune.
It really. Yeah. Actually,
you see, Trey Zune is the best pass blocker in the country per PFF.
Yep, that's true.
I think Trey is. We're going to talk about the offensive line in just a second, but I think a lot of people would say Marcel or KC.
Absolutely.
Marcel.
I wouldn't have a problem if somebody said Le'Veon when he was healthy or Mario Craver.
Marcel, when he came out of high school, number 296. KC, when he came out of high school, number 567 nationally.
Amazing. I remember Marcel Reed. Marcel Reed was just a throw-in.
Yeah, like that 2023 class had a bunch of guys that, it was headlined by DJ Hicks, and even Dalton Brooks was toward the top of that class, but it had guys that you never really heard of, and you're like just kind of throw-ins, like Marcel Reed, like Torian York.
Torian York was at the definition of a throw-in, right? He was going to go to Duke.
Baylor.
He was going to go to Baylor, but he was offered by Duke,
yes.
And then when Elko, yeah. Thank you for jogging my memory.
But so here's the thing: the best position group on the team, the most consistent position group on the team this year, has been the Texas A&M offensive line.
It's been amazing.
Let me read you this: the Texas A&M offensive line: Trey Zune, number 285; Armaje Reed Adams, number 418; Mark Naboo, number 502; Coley Fayu, number 899. Chase Basantis was a national recruit at number 46. Demetrius Crownover, number 441, was listed as a tight end. And then Ruben Fothery was number 138. He was way back in the class of 2021. But so your best, most consistent position group is full of like unheralded guys.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, this is a glimpse into culture. And I said this whenever I had to go cover a spring football practice with OB was out. I had to go write snippets. And I watched Adam Cushing's group. And I said, in my untrained eye, that culture in the offensive line room was the best I'd seen, because you had Armaje Reed Adams sitting out with an injury and was intent with every drill and was locked in on every rep of every drill. The consistency, like it was almost like they were in their drill work. It's like they were synchronized swimming. They were in perfect sync, and Adam Cushing blows a whistle and they all yell finish. And a couple of the new incoming freshmen didn't yell finish. And you had Armaje Reed Adams and you had Mark Naboo yell at them. We don't do that. Like, we don't skip stuff. We say finish every time. And from that moment on, I was like, this group's got a chance, because it's coach-led. I mean, it's coach-fed and player-led, and you can tell. And Adam Cushing, there's not been a more distinct difference in a position group to me since Jimbo Fisher left to Mike Elko than the offensive line.
Absolutely, and it's so important for it to be coach-fed, player-led, as you said, Brauny, because what's going to happen this next year on that position, right? Trey Zune's going to go pro. Ruben Fothery's out of eligibility. Demetrius Crownover out of eligibility, also going to go pro. Coley and Mark Naboo are getting older. Armage's out of eligibility.
Pasantis will go pro.
Pasantis will go pro. Like, these are all, like,
You're gonna have
see
huge
a lot
turnover.
of turnover there. But what you just said is important. The players themselves are laying the foundation for the next group of guys. And to your point about players who are unheralded when they come in, who's the guy that they run out on the field when they need an extra offensive lineman and they go into jumbo package?
Robbie Bourdon.
Robbie Bourdon, unheralded guy, right?
He's a lacrosse player.
Yeah,
from Tennessee.
They've been fantastic. The other thing I like to point out is with so many of these names, and Armage is a great example, A&M's obviously hit the transfer portal like every big program has, like every program has to in today's era. But a lot of A&M's contributors out of the portal are second-year guys out of the portal. Armage, Scooby, Cassius Howell, of course, Will Lee. Like, these aren't the
Marcus Ratcliffe.
I know, like, Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver, those guys are new. Those weapons are awesome. But the guys who are setting the foundation and really being the backbone of success on defense and offense are the guys that have been here and developed. They've stayed, they're here, they're in their second year, and they've elevated everything because of their commitment to the culture and their willingness to work and develop as individuals and as a unit.
Well, look at some of the guys that have come in and from the portal, even in just this 1 year, how much have they helped themselves in terms of their prospects as professionals? Nate Borkacher, Tyler Onyedum, Deion Hayes.
TJ Searcy.
TJ Searcy can stay, though. He'll be back next year.
Okay.
But Deion Hayes, Tyler Onyedum, and Nate Borkacher, obviously Concepcion has helped himself too.
Massively.
But I'm talking about, he was had a little bit more shine whenever he came in from NC State. But again, like, it's not like these guys are coming from peers of Texas A&M. They're elevating themselves in terms of competition level, and because of the development happening, the teaching of the game, the improvements in the weight room, they are improving their stocks as professional players. And you want to talk about as if A&M needed any more ammunition on the recruiting trail right now, and they're going to hit the trail hard this week with coaches out on the road. But if my phone is going off about guys going into the portal that want to come to Texas A&M, hey, what's A&M going to do at this position? Do you know what their plan is? How many they want to take? Like, if I'm hearing that, I can promise you the coaches and the recruiting staff are hearing that already.
Yep. It's been a fantastic job. Just the way they built this roster, the way they're navigating the new and ever-changing waters of roster composition. It's truly impressive stuff. It might have another wrinkle thrown into it this year for this coaching staff when they have to deal with the later dates of possibly playing in the college football playoff and all of that. But you are now able to sell the steak itself instead of the sizzle. It's another thing you wrote in one of your past recruiting long forms. But you wrote it about the actual, like, the high school recruiting. You can sell that stuff to transfer portal recruits. And in today's world and today's crazy coaching carousel where these wildly talented programs with 5 stars and blue chips all over the place, they're watching their coaches get let go in October. They've got to be looking at Texas A&M and what players are able to achieve here on an individual and on a team level and think, why can't that be me? It's got to be a huge selling point for Mike Elko and company before they even talk to these kids.
Well, you've got to be really keen, though, I think, if you're Derek Miller and the player personnel people at Texas A&M, because you can't waver on your standards. You can't get overwhelmed and giddy with, we have so many people calling us and so many guys that are talented. The reason that you've gotten where you are is because you've gotten talented kids that are willing to come in and just dive headfirst into your culture. And they are willing to – and I think part of it is, and you brought up a good point, with the transfer portal, it isn't about sizzle to me. Those guys want to – they're looking to get out for – if they're real players, they're looking to get out because they're not being developed where they're at. They see an opportunity to get developed at Texas A&M. They like what Texas A&M is doing from a culture standpoint, and they can see themselves growing their professional profile here. And it's not about NIL dollars. It's not about the glitz and glamour that come with, playing for a team that's got national notoriety. It's about developing as a football player, and that's it. So,
but you're going to be able to combine all of that.
That's what I'm saying.
Texas A&M's so uniquely positioned. It's got to help set this place apart, unlike we've ever seen.
The sizzle doesn't matter to transfer portals. The steak does.
Sure.
High school players, you still got to do the sizzle and the game day atmosphere and all that stuff. And it's still wildly important. I've wrote about that. The game day Saturdays for high school kids are paramount. They're a bedrock component to the Texas A&M recruiting pitch. But you have so much real data now. The messaging is no longer messaging. We have tangible evidence. Hey, we've told you, 5-star running back, that we are going to be creative in how we run the ball, and we are going to spread it around. We don't have a feature back, and we don't ever intend to have a feature back. Even when Le'Veon is healthy, there's other guys getting the rock. And, oh, by the way, receivers, we're getting you the football in creative ways too. And we told you we were going to do that, and now go look. Go look at how many people rushed the ball this Saturday and last Saturday against Arkansas for Texas A&M. It's remarkable.
I have this week's box score pulled up right in front of me just because we've been using it. Reed, 11 carries. Owens, 8. Morrow, 3. Daniels, 4. Craver, 2. TK Norman, 1. EJ Smith, 5. Nate Borkacher. That is, I believe, 8 different ball carriers. 8 ball carriers. So that doesn't include the receivers because 6 different guys had a reception.
This is all stuff that has been said on the recruiting trail that is coming to fruition. So this isn't grandiose promises unkept. This is, we told you it was going to be this way.
Yeah.
And it is. So we don't, the proof is in the pudding here. And look, this is what they were trying to, I don't mean to bring up old stuff and we need to move on from it, but this is what they were trying to tell Noah Thomas.
Sure.
Like, hey man, the ball's going to get spread around more. We're going to get better at this if you'll just be patient. And he chose not to, which every kid's got. I'm not holding that against Noah, but that was the conversation that A&M was having with him. It's like, man, you stick here and you just, your tree grows, your plants grow where you water them.
Yeah.
And he chose not to. But this is what's happening. And I think the messaging, if I had to guess, in the Bright Football Complex this week is the old Kobe Bryant press conference line. Job's not done. Like what?
Job's not finished.
As incredible as that was Saturday night, and it is an all-time moment. If you are an A&M fan and you were in Baton Rouge, I bet you'll think about that night for a long time because just the scenes and the pictures coming out of there were incredible. The post-game war hymn was an all-time Texas A&M promotional moment on national television.
I won't even go back to the end of the game, the end of the third quarter. The Aggies are walking down into the corner. Amazing stuff. Amazing, amazing stuff. We were sitting here in the office watching in the lobby, and there was some serious FOMO, right? I've never traveled to a Texas A&M away game where the Aggies have won, ever.
So Richard
Granted,
will
I
watch
haven't traveled very much.
But Richard will be watching the rest of the season from College Station.
I am not traveling. I do not intend to go to any games as a fan. I'll tell you that. It's one of those moments where it's like, dang it. I wish I could have been there.
And to go back,
I could have been there. I should have been there. I shouldn't have been there. I had work to do, and y'all would have. Yeah,
but going back to my original point about the LSU people that making their blood boil, is they sat there and watched that.
Had to take it.
Whether they were in the stadium or they were outside the stadium, they could hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm telling you, the Fighting Texas Aggie band, the notes were bellowing out of that stadium. And then just as viral as the clips have gone, Cade, you're relatively young. You just got out of school. This has to be something that you're like, that was incredible after the game. The scenes there were awesome.
Yeah, no, it was super, super cool. It's very rare, I think, at least in my time watching college football, to see a stadium get completely taken over by the opposing fans like that. They did the war hymn like between the third and fourth quarter, like they do at A&M home games.
Yeah.
And they were showing the crowd, and they were like LSU fans sprinkled in the middle that they were flipping the bird at the camera or whatever when it was panning. But it was insane to see. I was telling all my friends who I was watching the game with at home who don't watch as much A&M football as I do. I was like, I've never felt this way watching A&M football before. I've never felt this way watching A&M football before.
There was a tweet from an LSU media member named Preston Guy, and he was filming from behind the A&M team facing the band. He was filming the Warham after the game.
Yeah.
And the caption of the tweet was so good. It says, Baton Rouge has fallen. And it was like the Confederate or the Revolutionary War. And you go into a town and you take it over. Baton Rouge has fallen. It has fallen at the hands of Texas A&M and Mike Elko. And again, there are a lot of people over there, and I think this only kicked the ball, the rock further down the road toward the ledge of Brian Kelly. I'm
so stunned.
Unlocked the dam, because there's those people, they could not have. That it had to make them nauseous to watch that.
Well, that's what the entire conversation leading into the week was. How high does the temperature under Brian Kelly go if he loses to Texas A&M? I don't think anybody in their right mind could have ever fathomed or predicted or expected or anything along those lines that Saturday night was it. I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card until Marcel's second rushing touchdown when they're up 49-18 or whatever.
And did it right in front of who?
Harold Perkins. Sidestepped him.
Again, this is what I'm talking about with all the crossover between Texas A&M and LSU.
Just made me happy because I remember watching him commit to Texas A&M in that All-American Bowl, that laugh he had. And then the decommitment and the video of them burning the hat. Like, it's just justice, dude. That's karma. I loved it. I love all of it. Give it to me. Love it.
Two of the kids that started on the LSU offensive line.
Cohen Eccles and Weston Davis.
Once committed to?
Texas A&M. Katy, Texas, and Beaumont United, correct?
Yes.
Like how I knew that?
LSU general manager, Austin Thomas, used to work where?
I'm guessing Texas A&M.
At Texas A&M.
LSU athletic director.
Scott Woodward used to work at Texas A&M. I'm telling you, and you just keep going deeper, and I'm not going to mention some of the names. You just keep going deeper, and I know how Saturday night made them feel.
Good.
And it's time, look, Marcel Reed is the most marketable player that Texas A&M football has had since Johnny Manziel. And it's a credit to Marcel in the way he's played.
Sonic Smashers.
But what I'm telling you about Marcel is he has been the quintessential representative of Texas A&M. Every one of his interviews that he's done, he's been sharp, he's been witty, he's been intelligent, he's been well-spoken, he's been well-thought. And he's got genuine aura about him, and I don't even use that term. That's a Cade Bickham generation word. But I'm not talking about aura because he does stuff that goes viral on social media. I'm talking about aura is that he's gravitational, and his teammates want to play for him. And
he's got the charisma.
He's got a ton of charisma, and A&M's had really good players. Trevor Knight had a lot of that.
Yeah. A lot of that. Remember, Trevor Knight was dating the Robertson girl for a while.
And Kellen Mond, Kellen was a good player, and he was a tough sucker. But Kellen was very subdued.
Yeah.
But Kellen was well-spoken, and Kellen was a smart guy. But he just didn't pop like Marcel pops in front of a camera. Marcel's got a great smile, and he's infectious. And his interviews with Kirk Herbstreit this week, and you listen to the way Mike Elko talks about him and just how he handles himself with the quote that got completely taken out of context about Death Valley at night and how he was going to, what did he say? What was the quote like that was misinterpreted or taken out of context was that it was underwhelming. And then so they asked him about in the post game. He's like, yeah, I don't know about that quote. He goes, but underwhelming, I guess it was.
Yeah, he said they tried to put it up there and make something out of it, but I guess it was, right? It didn't really do anything to him.
So he is
he is awesome, man.
He's awesome.
I really, really respect Marcel Reed. He's not like a lot of student athletes, and of course he's got quite a bit of stature at this point. He's a Heisman contender. He's fourth in Heisman odds, depending on who you look at. And he's absolutely playing like it. If the season ended today, I think Marcel Reed is in New York City as a Heisman finalist. And one of my first interactions with Marcel Reed was, he's been in here for a couple NIL interviews, and kids really let their hair down when you're not really recording, and he'd sit and kind of shoot the breeze and just chat with you for a little while. And then this past offseason, Texas A&M decided not to send its quarterback to SEC Media Days, even though it was the first in a long time that Texas A&M actually had a returning quarterback who had been healthy for the majority of the season. There was really no quarterback battle in the offseason, yada, yada, yada. A&M didn't send a QB to Atlanta. But after SEC Media Days ended, the league was holding its student-athlete advisory council and leadership council meetings where they had multiple different representatives from each of the 16-member institutions across different sports. Marcel and I think KC, don't quote me on KC, but I know for a fact Marcel was part of the A&M contingency out there. And if you remember about SEC Media Days, A&M was the last school to go. So it meant the TexAgs crew was one of the last groups, last reporters inside the main ballroom finishing up our work before we caught our flights home out of Hartsfield-Jackson. And as we're finishing up in the ballroom and the janitors are in there cleaning up, they brought all of the SAC kids in to take a photo with the commissioner. And they take their photo, kids walk in, they walk out. Marcel recognizes us. He probably recognized Olin and David. Billy wasn't with us at the time. But, it's me, it's Kay, it's Callie, Nick's over there. He comes and he shakes each one of our hands. Just character. He's different. He is, I don't know him that well. Like, I'm not going to pretend like I know who he is all the time, but he truly, truly seems like a good kid, and he's easy to root for.
He's easy to root for, and by the way, he's gotten better. Like he's
better.
He's gotten so much better in the pocket. He's gotten so much better at maneuvering in the pocket. He's got a great feel for when to use his legs. He used them more on Saturday night than we've seen him in the past. And you're hoping, if you're an A&M fan, that last Saturday night it's not the peak. Like there's more of those days coming, and it feels like there are. And I think that's good time for a bye week because you can come off of that high. And you can resettle, and now you've got to go on the road to Columbia, Missouri, a place where they don't lose very often.
Nope.
They do not lose up there very often, and they're going to have a freshman quarterback making his first start, but a super talented freshman quarterback in Matt Zollers.
And a really, really good offensive mind as his head coach scheming it up for him.
And yeah, that will help him out, and they've got a really solid running game. Like, look, A&M can go up to Columbia, Missouri and lose. No question. That is another huge hurdle in this season. But if they go up there, and we'll talk plenty more about it between now and next week, but if they're able to go up there and find a way, like I always say, by hook or by crook, if they get out of Columbia, Missouri with a win, you're 9-0, and it's all in front of you. To me, this is the last major hurdle to clear. And then can you imagine this? An 11 a.m. kick against South Carolina is going to be as electric of an 11 a.m. kickoff as that place has ever seen.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be coming home 9-0 with a fan base that hasn't seen you in 33 days. That has been starving for a winner for how long?
And remember, that's the game. Johnny has tweeted that he's got a surprise for the boys. It's gonna have that locker room as hyped up as they've ever been. Don't know what that means.
I don't know, but I don't know that even or is that place gonna need any help?
I don't think the place is going to, but certainly can't hurt, right?
So, and I think this coaching staff, I've got confidence in Mike Elko and the guys he's hired around him to get them back refocused. You haven't done anything.
It's awesome.
You haven't won anything yet. Job's not done. So
job's not finished. What's there to be happy
I do
about?
like that
Job
we
finished?
can.
No.
I do like that we can revel in this.
Got my Kobe's on right now, by the way.
The bye week allows us a little bit more time to kick our feet up and just kind of revel in what we saw Saturday night. And we spent 40 minutes, 50 minutes of the show on that, and I'm okay with it because
perfectly fine with that.
And I just couldn't get it up. I had to keep watching all the memes. It was feeding me. It was giving me life, as the kids say. I was scrolling. I don't ever go to my For You page because, every now and then with the Twitter algorithm, like just inadvertently, haphazardly, you'll see somebody die. Like, I don't want to.
What?
Yeah.
Your algorithm's messed up.
No, like the For
My
You page
algorithm
is a
does not
disaster.
do that.
The For You page is a disaster.
No.
But
Brauny?
because I kept searching stuff about the game,
I think you're outing yourself a little
my
bit
For
here.
You page was just full of reactions. And I watched, if you were in that stadium and you put a video on social media of any experience you had, I think I've watched it between Saturday night and now. I couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What do you think of the stories coming out about Brian Kelly? Like, a lot of them we've known, but a lot of them are being rehashed.
He showed his whole hind end on Saturday night, and I don't know.
We keep receipts. What are we talking about?
Listen, and it's been said by the time, here's the only issue with us getting on the air 3 days after all this happens is that all the reactions already been had, and everything that I would have wanted to say has already been said by 5 people already. But I'm going to reiterate, you have the headset on, doofus. You can hear everything that's coming through the headset. Every call that's being made goes through your ear into your brain. How are you verbally assaulting your coaches like that whenever you have the power, you have the ability to step in and say, we're not doing that, Joe Sloan. We're not going to throw a flat route to the tight end with no timeouts left and less than 20 seconds remaining in the half. We're not going to do that. Instead, you allowed it to happen, and then you berate your coach, your peer, on national TV with a profanity-laced tirade that has since gone viral. And then you do it to your special teams coordinator, and you do it to your punter, and you do it to your defensive coordinator. And I'm just going to tell you this.
He was yelling at Nussmeier too, wasn't he?
He's done it to his quarterback a million times. It's everybody's fault but his. But when you're the head man at LSU, at Texas A&M, at Texas, the buck stops with you. And it makes no sense to me or anybody else watching that you have that headset on, you're the head coach, you can stop all this, and you chose not to, and you'd rather throw your guys under the bus immediately on national television because this isn't Brian Kelly's first season to coach. He knows where the cameras go when something bad happens. And listen, the ESPN camera guys, early in the game, they realized, hey, this guy's acting like he's showing his cheeks every time something bad happens.
He is cheeks.
He's buns.
He's buns.
Buns.
What's another one, Cade?
He's washed.
He is washed.
He's cooked.
Washed, cooked, finished.
But did you notice that? To me, if I'm the cameraman or I'm the producing that game, Cade, you'd be sitting there going, we're going to him after every bad play happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I would.
John Boyk is going to have a field day with that.
What you're going to do is, what you would do is you cut to him, and then you cut to the fines or to the signs that in the crowd that say Kelly gotta go or fire Brian Kelly. That's what you do. You go straight to him, and then you go straight to the sign.
Well, that's exactly what they did.
It was perfect. It was very well done.
Again, that was part of the imagery that I think forced LSU's hand on this deal.
I'm about it.
What a night.
Oh, what a night.
What a night. Hey, okay, we can kind of transition here. Don't forget, this is a Top 5 Tuesday. We got our Top 5 winners and losers upcoming. We also, our random Top 5 today, our Top 5 favorite fried foods.
This is like the easiest list to create just because there's so many great options. So I'm excited.
To me, that would be the opposite of easy list to create.
Well, it's just like it was an easy list for me to fill out in my stream of consciousness because all I had to do is, ooh, that one's good. I'll add that. Ooh, this one's good. I'll add this. Ooh, this one's good. I'll add that kind of thing. It came to me really quick.
I'm going to be disappointed when you guys say something that's on your list and I totally just forgot it on mine.
Probably. You can fry anything. Oreos, Dr. Pepper, whatever they do up at the state fair.
I've got nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
I don't want to talk about Brawny's nipples.
What movie is that from, Cade?
Oh, the line sounds really familiar, but I can't. I don't have
the Parents.
It.
Ben Stiller, Robert De Niro.
You talking to me, Falker? Talking to me, Falker?
You a pothead, Falker? All right, it was a chance to kind of decompress off of Saturday night and change the setting a little bit. But another high stakes scenario last night. I mean, people are tired.
Zero fun.
People are tired of hearing
no fun whatsoever. It sucked for 6 hours and 39 minutes.
People are tired of hearing Richard talk about the Dodgers, but you have to. I mean,
it's a World Series,
18-inning World Series game.
I wish I could say it was.
I
wish I could say it was my first
Shohei
one.
5 times. Intentionally walked Shohei
the
5
first time
times.
in postseason history a player has reached base 9 times.
Every single time he came up to the plate.
You guys are acting like I'm going to walk him every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah.
He's Barry Bonds. You do not let Shohei Ohtani beat you in the World Series.
If
you
Mookie
make
Betts hits
anybody
12
else
homers right behind him, fine.
Fine.
The fact they let
Absolutely.
him. The fact they let him swing the bat with the game with up a run. Was moronic. Yeah, it was moronic.
It was the last run scored for 4 hours.
But that's why that's exactly precisely why you walk him there too, because he's already hit a home run and 2 doubles. Why give him a chance to get another extra base hit?
Shohei Ohtani is the greatest baseball player to ever walk this planet.
Yeah, easily.
Bar none.
I don't think it's even close anymore.
The second is probably Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
And Barry Bonds, as great of a player as he was, he probably could have pitched a little bit, but he can't pitch like Shohei can. His skill level compared to the greatest other two-way player ever was Babe Ruth. It ain't even in the same stratosphere.
No, it's not close.
Babe Ruth was playing against plumbers.
Shohei Ohtani is the best hitter in baseball right now, and if you ask anybody, including Ohtani himself, the thing he loves to do most, the thing he is best at, is to pitch. And we're going to see it tonight in Game 4. Last time out, he struck out 10. He gave up 2 hits, 6 scoreless innings in a Game 4 rout of the Milwaukee Brewers. You know what Shohei Ohtani has done in his last 2 games at Dodger Stadium? I compiled the stats for you, okay? Here's what you need to know. He's 7 for 7 with 5 home runs, 2 doubles, 24 total bases, 6 walks, 5 of which are intentional. So he has been on base in each of his last 13 appearances at Dodger Stadium. Oh, and by the way, he throws 102 miles an hour with a disgusting splitter and sinker. Like, just, it's unfair. He's greatest player of all time. And for the morons in Toronto, who in your Game 1 route, remember it's a World Series and you got to beat the Dodgers and their starting pitchers 4 times to win a trophy, for you to sit there and chant in the 9th inning, we don't need him, has got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You don't want the greatest player of all time? What are you talking about?
Well, and they made the mistake.
Don't
hindsight's
poke the bear,
2020.
dude.
Why'd you pitch to him in the blowout? You let him get going.
He had a 2-run home run then.
Right.
And Alejandro Kirk is having an amazing World Series.
Human
He's fantastic.
bathtub.
If the Blue Jays end up pulling off the miracle and winning the World Series, I think he should be a shoo-in for World Series MVP. It'd be the oddest body to ever win World Series MVP, but he's deserving. He's a great player. Huh?
Maybe to you, that's an odd body. To me, that is peak male physicality.
Well, he's even shorter than you are, which means he's even rounder than you are. You're tall.
He's a
you kind of
human
stretch
bathtub.
it out.
He's awesome.
Incredible. He's a great player. He's not only does he pack a ton of power, he's the toughest at bat maybe in baseball.
Short arms, guys with short arms, fine barrels.
Swing, like he's fantastic. I don't think John Schneider made a misstep last night.
I like him as a manager.
I think you had to. Both of those guys managed the game about as close to perfect as possible, and obviously they all got a bunch of heroic performances from their bullpens to make it last 18 innings. But that Toronto offense, for as good as it's been throughout the postseason, took a noticeable step back when one Springer got injured. Hate to see that. I've been on record on this show about how much I enjoy him as a player. He had to go out, left the lineup. Bo Bichette, they lifted for a pinch runner at the right time. Obviously, knowing what you know now, you'd probably like to keep his at-bat in the lineup. And then I don't think it was a misstep to pinch run for Kirk when you needed it in extra innings. But unfortunately, the trade-off is, and no one expects it to go, the game to last 7 more innings, you took the bat out of his hands possibly 3 more times.
Yeah, but you have to fire the bullet with a chance to. If you think you have a chance to win it, you have to do that.
Absolutely.
But the thing that stood out to me about that game last night was just a high-level catch play. I mean, the big league position players, something that doesn't get highlighted over 162, is how good they are at playing catch.
Yeah.
And it rears its head in these do-or-die moments in the biggest games of their career, and it comes out, you're like, oh, yeah, Vladimir Guerrero can hit the ball 118 miles an hour, and he's sensational in the batter's box, and he's an elite player if he doesn't even can't even wear a glove. But he came up as a third baseman with a big-time arm. And the pick and throw he made, the picks that Freddie Freeman made, the cuts and relays last night, it was high-level catch play.
Tommy Edman made an error in that fourth inning that ultimately led to the 3-run home run. So you argue if Tommy Edman plays a little bit better defense, the game doesn't last as long as it did. But the game doesn't last as long as it did if Tommy Edman doesn't make an insane play on a ball that bounces off, a line drive that bounces off Freddie Freeman's glove in the ninth. The game doesn't last if Teoscar Hernandez, who has driven me crazy as a defensive right fielder, if he doesn't combine with Edman for a perfect strike and a relay home.
That was one of the best relays I've ever seen live. It was so good.
And give credit to Toronto, too, because they made so many great plays. The Vlad play, of course, stands out. But what about Austin Barger throwing a strike?
Missile.
No, and it wasn't even close to get Freeman
here's
at
the thing
plate.
that I loved about it, too, is the minutia, the detail. So when you
Ernie Clement at third base.
You see Addison Barger throw that ball home. How Alejandro Kirk goes to tag. Like, he doesn't swipe. He gets on the ground, gets his chest close to, was it Hernandez?
I think it was Freeman.
Freddie.
Hernandez was the one thrown out at third by Vlad.
Gets his chest close to him, because if my chest is close to him, I'm going to tag him. You looked at, there was one more play where I was like, man, that's such good teach tape from that game. And like you talk about catch play. The throw from Vladdy, like, if that throw isn't in a tag area, so he skipped it. Like, he didn't throw that in the air. He bounced it into the tag area.
Yeah.
If that throw's high, I don't care how hard you throw it. If it's not near the tag area, the guy's safe. Like, there's so much.
Well, Ernie Clement had a great play off of third base, ranging towards the hole at short, and he bounced it twice because he knew the runner was so slow. He just might as well get an easy candy hop for Vladdy. It was fantastic. The defense was awesome.
I know what the other one was.
Kind of a shame somebody had to lose.
It was the ball. Bichette hit the ball down the right field line that Vladdy scored on.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw people that were tweeting. It was football guys that I follow.
It was a bad throw from Teo.
But what I'm saying is, people were tweeting about, what a slide, what an awful slide. I'm like, that's a brilliant slide. He gave him no room to tag, and he touched the plate with his hand.
Yeah.
Now, he popped up too soon, but whatever. Like, it looked awkward, but that's a brilliant slide.
And if he's not running the way he ran the bases, right? If he hesitates just for a bit, a fraction of a second, he's out.
Yeah.
And it was a bad throw, so he should have been out anyways. But regardless, you take advantage of what your opponent gives you. And this is the World Series. No one's going to apologize for the opponent making mistakes.
It's funny because how baseball is covered in the regular season, none of this stuff gets broken down because you play 162 and there's just not going to be enough plays at the plate where you've got to slide and touch it with your hand. There's not going to be enough plays around bags where you've got to get on the ground and kind of grapple to get the tag. But because the sample size is so big, it's going to come down to who throws the most strike, who hits the ball off or over the wall the most. Like, that's what it's going to come down to over that sample size. But when you condense the sample size to a series, all of this stuff, the magnification of it goes 1,000x.
Comes down to who does the small details correctly, who can lay down a bunt, who can hit behind the runner with 2 outs, who can play catch.
Yep.
And ultimately, that's what it came down to last night. Quite honestly, I think the Dodgers are lucky. They made 2 errors, too many men left on base, but of course, Baltimore can say the same thing, although they did not commit any defensive miscues.
Baltimore.
Sorry, Toronto. Guys, I was up, and the game ended at 2 a.m., and when you are, and everybody knows this, right? There's a ton of Astros fans out here that listen to us. They have a ton of experience in postseason baseball. Obviously, the Rangers went on a World Series run not too long ago, so we've got our bases covered in the state of Texas. You know that when your team is playing postseason baseball, the game is not enjoyable at all. It is a pressure cooker for you, whether you're in the ballpark as a fan, you're watching from the stands, or you're sitting at home on your couch like I was last night. 6 hours and 39 minutes of anxiety. And when you are so locked in and you watch every single pitch, 480 of them or whatever it was, for that long. Like, you can't just wind down and go to bed immediately. So the game ends at 2. By the time I was finally able to shut my brain off, it's probably 3 o'clock. I'm running on about 3.5 hours of sleep, a venti cold brew this morning, and now my second energy drink. So I apologize if I'm a little bit of a zombie and I confused the Toronto Blue Jays, the American League champion, for the Cellar Dweller, the other bird team in their division. That's my bad.
All right. The only other thing I had on the rundown before we get to our top 5 winners and losers and our top 5 fried foods, we got too many Aggies, talented Aggies to me, that are wasting away in the NFL. And maybe, and this is just a quick rundown, Von Miller's in the twilight of his career in Washington, and he's won a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP. So I'm not saying Von is necessarily wasting away in Washington. I think he's just probably playing and collecting a check until he can't anymore.
I'll also say that division with that quarterback in Washington, they could turn it around in the second half and find their way in the postseason. It was Jaden. Sorry,
he's still hurt. Jaden Daniels hurt.
Hand up. Didn't realize that.
Yeah, he didn't play last night.
Didn't realize that.
Myles Garrett, 5 sacks on Sunday, setting all kind of records. Most sacks ever by a player before their 30th birthday.
It's like the tungsten arm O'Doyle thing that they always bring up when Ohtani does something ridiculous with the Angels.
Oh, yeah.
Myles Garrett had 5 sacks in a game. First player in Cleveland history since 1948. The Browns lost 77-3.
So I'd like to see Myles be on a bigger stage.
Well, here's the thing with that is that he really had the opportunity this offseason to do that
he was
if he wanted
vilified
to.
for it.
Well, I know. I'm just saying, like, he had the opportunity to go somewhere this offseason and go get and like just wait out his contract and then go get paid somewhere else. Instead, he decided to sign a super fat extension with the Browns. He's gonna get paid incredible, like a
$40 million a year.
Yeah, $40 million
for every year between now and 2030.
Yeah. So, like, that's obviously a great contract, and he's going to be maybe the Browns, one of, like, their top 3 players in franchise history.
May end up being the best.
He might be the greatest defensive end.
I'm trying to
Jim Brown.
Jim Brown, yes. Yeah. So that was my
Johnny Manziel
consideration. yeah. But unless he had the opportunity. He was trying to leave, and
Cleveland's so far away from being a winner.
He wanted the trade. And they wouldn't trade him, and so he said, "Fine, I'll just take all of the money you want to give me."
Unfortunately, I also think that when you get drafted by the Cleveland Browns or you get traded to the Cleveland Browns, sorry, but like your ability to have any sort of team success kind of goes out.
If they would have kept Baker,
maybe.
But
you kind of understand from the get-go that any sort of team success is going to be pretty hard to achieve in Cleveland with the way they operate that franchise. So
it's hard to just create a winning culture from scratch like that.
Credit to him for having the individual success that he's had.
Absolutely.
With the dearth of talent around him.
The fact they lost by that much and he still had 5 sacks is insane.
He's amazing.
He's an animal.
He's got a room reserved in Canton, Ohio.
I'd also like to see Devon Achane and Tyrell Dodson get out of Miami. Tyrell Dodson was in Buffalo.
Get out of there.
Yeah, Dodson was in Buffalo. But the Dolphins are a disaster.
They're terrible. And I want A-Chain to stay healthy so he can be a free agent. And, imagine what Dan Campbell and his OCs that he brings in could do with that sort of talent. It'd be amazing.
Him and Jahmyr Gibbs.
It's like a dream to me. It's like a dream.
I just want to see Devon go to somewhere that – whenever Mike McDaniel came in there, I was like, man, this guy's creative, and the roster said that they were going to be able to score a ton of points and they were going to be so fast. And then you watch them play, and it's like they play in cement, and it's partly the quarterback they've got, who I think stinks. But that guy's toxic. It seems like watching their games, like they don't play. Like they go through the motions, and there doesn't seem like there's a lot of get after it for the Miami Dolphins. And it's kind of a top-down. He seems like a cool guy. And I just want Von in a place where like the nation can see how good he is.
Yep. I mean, it seems like every single week he's making a highlight play. I don't think people truly understand just how good he is. He's doing stuff at the NFL level that we saw every single Saturday here in College Station, and that's awesome to see. Credit to him. I know you're a huge fan. You say it all the time. He's the greatest player you've ever covered.
For those of you watching who play fantasy football, he gets me. He scores 20 points a week. He's insane. That team is terrible, and he puts up numbers every week. Every week.
Christian Kirk in Houston, I'm not ready to give up on that one yet. Houston, if they can fix their offensive line in one offseason, which I got questions whether they can do that, I still think Houston's got a deep playoff run in them because I like C.J. Stroud and I like the weapons they have. So I'm not ready to give up on Christian Kirk in Houston, but he's been in Arizona and not done anything in his career either. And then Jake Matthews in Atlanta, and he is a rock for them. Like, he's been their tackle. He started an incredible amount of games.
Hall of Honor kind of guy.
Yeah, Hall of Honor, but they've never had any team success since Jake's been there, and I don't see him moving this late in his career. So maybe Michael Penix and Bijan Robinson and Drake London can provide something for them to where they can get into the playoffs, but they looked hapless last week too.
He would have been on that Super Bowl team though, right?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah. Because he was drafted in 2014.
Yeah.
Well, was he hurt that year? Maybe. I don't think he was.
He was at least on the.
Yeah, he played every offensive snap,
according
to his Wikipedia page, against the New England Patriots, of course. A 34-28 loss after leading 28-3.
And that was year 3 for him in the NFL. So it's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Been a long time.
I mean, that guy's had an incredible career, though, man. He's played a lot of football.
He's only been a Pro Bowler once, which seems shocking. Shocking he hasn't gone to more.
Do you have how many starts he's made?
I don't have number of starts. Actually I do. Games played as of week 8, 2025. He has started every single game he's ever played, 186 career starts.
It's pretty wild, man.
It's amazing.
What a career. What a career for Jake. I would just like to see him get some shine.
That sort of longevity at that position doesn't come around very often.
It's like him, Joe Thomas, a couple other guys.
So I just feel like there's some Aggies wasting away in the NFL and wasting away good years.
You bringing up Jake Matthews. It's kind of sad because it doesn't seem like he's got the individual accolades to truly make a push for the Hall of Fame. But as time goes on and people look at offensive line play in this era differently and put it into context, I could see him getting some buzz for potentially being a Hall of Famer.
Probably a Falcons Hall of Famer.
For sure. I think he's a Atlanta Ring of Honor guy. I said Hall of Honor earlier. I meant Ring of Honor.
All right.
That type of longevity, people.
How old is he? 30. So he would have been.
He's 33.
He's
33.
Yeah. At that position.
So he's probably only got a couple more years left, man.
It's amazing.
Yep. All right. Let's go through some winners and losers in college football this week. If you're unfamiliar with how we do this, we will start with number 5, but we're going to talk about. If my number 5 is number 3 on somebody else's list, we'll talk about them. So number 5 for me, my top 5 winners of last weekend in college football, the Houston Cougars. They go into Tempe, Arizona. They really blew out Arizona State for much of that game, and then the Sun Devils made a run. Now, Arizona State was without Jordan Tyson, and Sam Levitt, I couldn't believe he was playing. He was basically, battered, bruised, and on one leg for the majority of that game. But Houston was able to go in there and do something that Texas Tech was unable to do. And don't look now, but the Houston Cougars are 7-1 and have an outside shot at getting to the Big 12 championship game. Willie Fritz can really coach. Connor Wigman's playing extremely well. Has been efficient. He's been using his legs a ton recently. So I thought Houston was an eye-opener for me, and so I thought they were deserving of a top 5 spot in my biggest winners.
Willie Fritz is going to be an interesting name to follow.
He's 64, though.
It's going to be an interesting name to follow. Maybe a couple of those bigger schools and bigger conferences, because the Big 12 is a power league. Maybe they want to strike while the iron's hot, maybe get back to relevancy pretty quickly. But
don't forget, in this era, Houston's got a donor.
Oh, yeah.
They got Tillman Fertitta, and that is a massive weapon.
Absolutely. I didn't have Houston on my list, but great pool, obviously. They're definitely one of the bigger winners of the week. I have Navy at 5.
Good call.
Midshipmen, 7-0. For the moment, leading the American, which means they are leading the chase for that group of 5 playoff bid. However, over their next 5 weeks, they have games against North Texas, Notre Dame, South Florida, and Memphis. A bye mixed in there somewhere. We're going to find out just how real the midshipmen are. Obviously, very easy to root for a service academy. Wanted to give them a shout out before maybe if things go down the toilets here soon. They get the mean green this week. They lead the nation in rushing. Do you know that?
Duh.
I mean, that's incredible. The number of points they're putting up.
I mean, it's
yards.
Just, I would hope. I feel like Navy's probably in the lead or the rushing lead amongst the rushing leaders every year.
I would venture to bet they're definitely among the top 25 every year in rushing. But to lead the country.
Both of those are great picks. I can't believe I didn't think of Houston actually, but I just put I put Georgia Tech at my 5 because they just kept rolling. They just kept rolling. Haynes King, wow, what a fantastic day for him. I'm pretty sure he had over 300 total yards and 5 total touchdowns. I mean, he was brilliant. So,
quarterbacks that signed with Texas A&M this year as starters are pretty good.
And they won
23-1.
Yep.
Yeah. And they won big, and they're still in that driver's seat for the ACC playoff spot. So,
all right, number 4 for me, the Brigham Young Cougars, and go into Iowa State, and it looked bleak for BYU for a lot of that game. And then I was kind of watching it. It was on my multi-view, but I wasn't locked in. But I think there was a massive interception that changed the game late, and then BYU I think scored the last 3 touchdowns to pull away. They keep passing their test.
Yeah. I think they're one of 2 schools to start 8-0 in back-to-back years. I had them higher on my list. I had them at 2.
I had them at 4 as well.
I mean, they're
good.
I think they're the favorite to win the Big 12 right now, and I know Texas Tech's got the most talented
Texas
roster
Tech's
in that
got
league.
quarterback issue,
but
Will Hammond's out now.
Both of them are hurt, so I like BYU to win that league and possibly get to the college football playoff.
Number 3 for me will stay in the American. I went the Memphis Tigers. It's a huge showdown against South Florida. They were coming off an embarrassing loss to UAB. I called this in my upset alerts last week. I thought Memphis was a live dog there, and it proves they were, and they are now back in the hunt for that G5 spot. I
don't have Memphis on my list. Just a sneak peek. I do have South Florida on my losers list because I wanted to talk. There were a lot of winners out there, and I wanted to find different ways to talk about different people. But yeah, I agree with that completely. Memphis, that American's a fun race, a really, really fun race. At 3 for me, North Texas and Drew Mestemaker. See this?
Yeah, just 600 yards.
I know it's against Charlotte, but it's such a cool story for me. Like, I wanted to shine some light on the individual. It's also a school that's close to home. I graduated high school in the UNT Super Pit. We don't sit in the pit. Go Mean Green. 608 yards, 4 touchdowns, ridiculous stat line. So congratulations.
Eric Morris getting some buzz about the next head man in Arkansas.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have some trepidation about hiring a guy
with the last name Morris.
With the last name Morris.
Who's your 4, Richard?
Oh, my 4 was Ole Miss. Sorry.
Oh, nice.
Ranked win. Lane Kiffin still somehow finding ways to get through all the coaching rumors as the coaching carousel goes on. To be honest with you, I respect what he did or what he said he was going to do when he was going to address the rumors with his team. I like the transparency with your players. Of course, we don't know exactly what he said or where he's going to end up. But, I mean, they could not lose another game. They could legitimately get to Atlanta in the college football playoff. Look at who they have left. Like South Carolina at home, Citadel, all right? UF at home. Florida's already fired their coach. And then, of course, the Egg Bowl on Black Friday is going to be weird because it always is. They got to go to Starkville. But I see Ole Miss running the table and finishing the regular season at 11-1. I think that was their last test, and I think that's a big win for Lane Kiffin and company.
Yeah, that's all great points. I think, let's see, I had Memphis at 2, Brauny. I had Memphis at 2.
Who'd you have at 3?
At 3, I had Vanderbilt because they got, I mean, game day in Nashville, and they did it. They did it. They won when game day came to Nashville. That is huge for that program. That is so huge for that program. And not only did they win that game, but they did it in a way that they haven't been doing it the rest of the season, where it was so much defense.
Yep.
It was almost hard to watch.
Oh, it was. It was ugly.
It was really ugly. The offense looked pretty terrible on both sides, and then they just found one late, and then the defense shut it down. That's an impressive team. They find ways to win. Their only loss this year is Alabama and Tuscaloosa. So yeah,
they got some big hurdles to overcome. But if they are able to clear Texas and they're able to clear Tennessee, man, that looks like a playoff team to me. My number 2 was Ole Miss, so we already talked about them.
My number 2 is BYU.
That's right. Cade, number 2.
My number 2 was Memphis.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure we all have the same number 1.
Number 1 was A&M.
Yep,
Absolutely.
We can move past that
100%.
because we've talked about that ad nauseum for the first 50 minutes of the show. Our top 5 losers. I think there's going to be some discrepancies here. Number 5 for me was SMU.
Okay.
They go on the road. They still had a lot to play for in the ACC. They go on the road and they lose 13-12 to Wake Forest. Yeah, that's yucky.
That is
very yucky.
I'm gonna at 5. I've got a team that won. Texas Longhorns. I'll stay in the Lone Star State. Anytime Jimmy Sexton and CAA have to put out a statement about your head coach before you go in and you should lose to a team that hasn't won a Southeastern Conference game in almost 2 full seasons, you're a loser. I know you won the game. You deserve credit for going into a hostile environment at night and winning a game in the SEC. It's not easy to do, but your quarterback's hurt now. You look bad. You look like your head coach is trying to bolt for the NFL. I think that rumor has some legs regardless of what Mr. Sexton says. And you really get lucky because Mississippi State decided to kick the ball to Ryan Niblett. So.
Well, we'll keep going. Keep going. Because I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Go ahead, Kay. Number 5 for you, biggest loser.
My number 5 was actually Mississippi State, for the reason that Richard briefly mentioned, because they've lost 16 SEC games in a row now.
I'm just going to get my Mississippi State rant because we're running out of time.
I've got State at 4 on my list.
They're number 2 on my list.
Okay.
You had the game won. You'd stop Texas. You were up 17. You stopped them on a 4th down. And this is why you are Mississippi State. This is why you haven't won a conference game in 3 years. Some doofus defensive lineman hits Arch Manning well after the play's gone. They get a 1st down. And from right then on, the ball started rolling in Texas's favor. And then with the game hanging in the balance, you punt it to, it's like Ryan Niblett and KC Concepcion are the most dangerous punt returners in the country. Quit punting them the ball. LSU did it twice. Mississippi State did it in a crucial time. Ryan Niblett made them pay. Just completely boneheaded decisions. I like Jeff Lebby. I do think he's got Mississippi State going in the right direction, but that's why you're Mississippi State, is because now that how many times this year have they blown leads like that?
That was the reason I had him at 5 instead of higher, is because I was watching that game and I was like, I really don't feel comfortable with them winning this. Like, they were up 17 and it was the 4th quarter, and I was like, I still don't feel confident that they're going to win this game, that they're going to close Texas out. And then they didn't, and then they lost in overtime. It just, none of it was surprising.
The Brandon Walker memes were funny.
They were very funny. He's the new Stingray.
Yeah. Number 4 for me, my biggest losers, the Oklahoma Sooners.
Not on my list.
It's a competitive game, but again, remember everybody was falling over themselves to hand John Mateer the Heisman after 3 weeks?
Yes.
What happened to that? So I think Oklahoma could. Well, LSU's a disaster too, but Oklahoma could end up 8-4-7-5.
Be awesome. Brent Venables, with Halloween coming up, he looks scary. He's a scary looking human being.
Scarier than Kim Mulkey?
Yes. No. Yes. No. They're the same person.
They are the same. I was going to say, it's like the same person in a different font.
So
we got to go. We got 5 minutes.
State at 4. I've got Mizzou at 3, and this is really hard to do because I know Bo Pribula got hurt, but they could have won that game. And Vanderbilt, if he stays healthy, if he'd stayed healthy, it seems like all their dreams are still left to play for. Now I think it's going to be hard to do so moving forward with a true freshman quarterback.
I had Arizona State at 4 because that was their season.
Yeah, I agree. I almost had them on my list. At number 3 for me, South Florida. You speaking of there's your season. You had to win out. You know, you couldn't lose again, and you go into Memphis and a team that just lost to UAB and you lose. And I don't think that's going to take any shine off of Alex Golish as a hot commodity in this coaching carousel. But South Florida has had a chance to do something historic, especially given the way they started the season. And I think it came to an end last week against Memphis.
I've got him at 2.
I had him at 3.
The manner, 17 points in the 4th quarter.
Yes.
That's how you lose.
Yep.
Guys, that's Dewey. That's bad.
I had them at 3 as well. And then, Richard, I had Oklahoma at 2, so I'm with you on Oklahoma.
I had
He had Oklahoma 2.
Or you had Oklahoma at 2, my bad.
I forget they exist.
No, I had Mississippi State at 2. I had Oklahoma at 4. Has there been a team? Do you have a team up here we haven't talked about?
No.
Do you have a team, Cade? Who was your two?
My two was
Oklahoma.
My two was Oklahoma. So
Okay, number one, unanimous.
LSU.
LSU.
Brian Kelly, you're a
Brian
loser.
Kelly. Later.
Duh.
Later, buddy.
I mean, A&M punted your entire state into the sun.
Welcome to the Thunderdome, jackasses.
Caused a giant panic and frenzy as they crossed I-10 West over the Sabine River coming back to Texas. They left that place in complete discombobulation.
Good luck with
glorious.
that coaching carousel. I don't have any faith in your leadership, your administration to land the right guy. I'm excited for
All right, our top 5 fried foods. And I don't know why this came to me this morning, but look at me. This is all the explanation you need. I think about fried foods sometime. Number 5 for me. And the thing is, there are so many glorious fried foods. I will back up what Richard said earlier. It was a little bit difficult, but I went number 5, hash browns. I love hash browns.
That's a good one.
And I particularly love Waffle House hash browns where they're really crispy and they're kind of formed into a patty. Is that a croquette?
Croquette?
Is that like a fried potato patty?
That would be a latke.
A latke?
That's a potato pancake. We call them latkes, and they are amazing with applesauce, especially around Hanukkah.
It is not a croquette. You're right.
It's a
latke.
It's a latke.
Latke?
It's the same thing.
You're right. Number 5 for you.
I had corn dogs. Speaking of
Corny
Louisiana,
dogs? Yeah.
Really good stuff. I like a corn dog from
Little
Sonic
mustard
every
on there?
now and then. No, I don't like mustard, so I just eat my hot dogs plain and dry.
Can you simulate how you maybe would
No,
use the mic as like a hot dog?
not.
How would you eat it?
I will not. I will not do so. I actually
Keep that one shot on.
You
him,
make
Cade.
sure you eat them from the side.
I usually eat mine from the
especially
middle
when,
out. You know,
when friends like Brauninger are around and they may or may not have their phones in their hand. Like you
I
eat
usually
them from the side. You can definitely not open and go full bore on the corn dog.
corn dogs, hot dogs, bananas, pickles. I eat them from the middle out,
No.
just to avoid
You're weird.
just to avoid any
Cade.
memes.
Man, I threw this list together. I can't believe I didn't think of hash browns. I'm a little bit mad at myself for not thinking of hash browns, but I just had French fries at 5.
Fair enough.
French fries at 2 for me.
Oh, you spoiled your list. We were going to go in order here.
Oh, well, this is not like top 5 winners
No.
and losers? Oh, sorry.
No. Number 4 for me, fried catfish. Grew up eating fried catfish. Love fried catfish. We had it from Buppy's the other day. Buppy's nailed that for sure.
Well, you guys remember, I love fried catfish. Fried catfish doesn't love me.
Yes.
That's the show. I had to take a couple pit stops. 4 for me, onion rings. Good onion rings, fried onion rings. Like, ooh.
On a burger or just by themselves?
Is there a wrong way to get them?
Oh, well, you don't like
I like
condiments. You
both.
don't like them with ketchup?
I like onions.
Fried onions.
I like fried onions.
Okay.
I don't like pickles, but I like fried pickles. Not going to appear on my list, though.
Well, you're going to have to listen to Cade. Cade, I've got no battery left, so Richard can relay what
Cade,
you're
I got
saying.
you.
We
Let me-
got a minute and a half left.
I also
anyway.
had onion rings at 4.
Okay. We
And
had onion rings at 4, Brauny.
Okay.
and I
Number
had them-
3 for me, fried Oreos. I love fried Oreos. And with a glass of cold milk, because if you don't have any kind of liquid to wash them down, they'll stick to your teeth and the top of your mouth. But a cold glass of milk and some fried Oreos, I dig.
I don't know if I've ever had a fried Oreo, but it sounds delicious. Mozzarella sticks at 3 for me. Fried cheese, good stuff. And I'll even say cheese curds. Maybe from a place from the South. It's like the South's version of Whataburger. It's called Culver's.
Culver's.
Fantastic. And yes, before you chime in, I know Culver's is from the Midwest. It's a bit, guys. Join the bit. Join the inside joke. Welcome to the B team.
I had fried pickles at 3.
Fried pickles at 3 for Cade.
Good call. My wife loves fried pickles. Number 2 for me, donuts.
Dang.
What?
Yeah, dang. That's a great one.
That's such a good one, dude.
Yes,
Oh, man.
they're obviously fried. That's duh.
Yeah.
Love donuts.
Didn't even think of that.
Great one.
Didn't even clock it.
For 2 for me is French fries.
Okay, you said that.
Really good.
Yeah.
I love me some
Versatile.
fries.
I just this is super generic, but fried chicken at 2.
He said fried chicken at 2.
Oh, fried chicken's 1 for me.
Yeah, it's
Fried chicken is,
fried chicken's
come
number
on, man.
1.
Oh, I actually put Brauny. You'll appreciate this. I put fried catfish at 1.
He said fried catfish
is
at
at 1. Yeah, okay.
Fried chicken, I'll put that at 1. Absolutely. It's 2-piece Tuesday at a local Cajun fast food place.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Might stop by on the way home.
That
That's
does sound good.
fantastic.
That does sound good.
Spicy chicken.
Everybody, thanks for tuning into the B team. Go out and get you some fried chicken. Celebrate Texas A&M's win over LSU by going to a Louisiana chicken chain and getting you some Popeyes.
And pray
biscuits,
to God
red
we
beans
play
and
less
rice.
than 18 innings tonight.
We don't much care about that, but we'll see you tomorrow
I need sleep.
on a We Learn Wednesday on the B Team. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
My